Professor Kausik Gangopadhyay, Economist, IIM Kozhikode, author, will discuss his book, The Joy Bangla Deception, Bangladeshi Islamism Under the Facade of Bengali Nationalism, with Alo Pal, Festival Director 2025.
Hello and welcome to this book talk. I know it's a little bit of a change from the session we just had earlier, but I just wanted to let you know that if one of the purposes of PLF is to strengthen your arguments with fact, then this book is a very, very good book. And Kaushik, there are many points actually. So maybe we will not be able to cover all. But I want you to, whenever I bring out a point, a conception that we have been inculcated with, I want you to especially elaborate on the methodology that you have used for debunking. So that people, those who watch this and those who buy your book will know how you've gone about. Is it because you're a Bengali and you're a hurt Bengali that you really want this narrative to work, or have you really, referenced it well to be able to support your argument? So the very first one actually is, I'm quoting Dhirendranath Datta, 1948 Constituent Assembly speech. He says, "Sir, in moving this, the motion that stands in my name, I can assure the House that I do not in a spirit of narrow provincialism, but sir, it is in spirit that this motion receives the fullest consideration at the hands of the members. I know that Bengali is a provincial language, but so far our state is concerned, it is the language of the majority of the people of the state. It should be treated as a language of the state, and therefore, sir, I suggest that after the word English, the word Bengali be inserted in Rule 29. So this is in 1948. So, and then all of us know that 21st February is the International Day of the Mother Tongue. So what misconception are we in when it comes to this quote by Dhirendranath Datta and the episode of 21st February?
First of all, my wholehearted thanks to Alodi and the organizers for calling me here. I was here last time with my book, The Majoritarian Myth. I loved this white city. I loved it so much that I had to write another book to be invited again. Yeah, now coming back to this point, I'll describe these things, but first of all, in the majoritarian myth, I've studied many societies. Why does majoritarianism works in Bangladesh, not in India? I tried to know it by studying them. So it's only one paragraph or two in my earlier book, but I studied a lot on that. And this is sort of why I could come up with the book easily. And of course, my co-author, Devabrat, he doesn't want any publicity. That's what his guru told him not to do it. But he published in Bengali a 30,000 word, like 1/3 of this manuscript, in 2018, where he made certain predictions which came to be true in 2024. So there is in certain sense dearth of Bangladesh books in scholarly one. So there is something written by one, I'm not naming it, one foreign person, published from I think Columbia University's press, but it is sort of very platitude and all. So I thought I would like to bring out one. Now, if you look at this 21st February, it is celebrated as World Mother Tongue Day by UN. It's a very big word, right? Now, 21st February 1952, there was an incident of firing, Pakistani police firing in Dhaka and killing some persons. I'll come to that story. If there's no other question, I'll come here.
No. So
There's another one, right?
No, of course, there's a follow-up question.
Right. So, but did it start on 21st February 1952? Absolutely not. It started with this person, Dhirendranath Datta, who was a member of Indian National Congress. He was a freedom fighter. And here is the tragedy of the Hindu Bengalis. If you go to the cellular jail, most names are Hindu Bengalis. They have given their blood for bringing freedom. And after 15th August, they have a choice. You leave your home and hearth for which you struggled so much and be a refugee in West Bengal, or live among some sort of bigoted people, bigoted government, and fight as much as you can. This was a very big problem. The smaller ones left for West Bengal, the bigger ones stayed there, like Dhirendranath Datta. And there was other people also, like Jatindra Mohan Sengupta, very great freedom fighter. His wife Nelly Sengupta was actually a British woman, but totally with the Indian cause. She actually stayed there because she wanted also to help the Hindus there. As a British woman, she had certain clout that no Indian person could have enjoyed that time, right? So Dhirendranath Datta was elected in the assembly, and there are around 12 of them, 12 Hindu members. They called themselves Pakistan National Congress, and they tried to make certain points there. Now, Dhirendranath Datta is just one of them. There are many points. There was one Rajkumar Chakrabarti, professor. There is a Premhani Barma, leader of the scheduled caste communities. They all sort of all together. Dhirendranath Datta brought the point of language. He said that you are proposing Urdu. Why are you proposing Urdu? 2/3 of the people, they speak Bengali. This is what was told in the Pakistan Constituent Assembly. And the members of the now what we call IIM League, that time before it was called IIM Muslim League, that time it was not formed. That time they are part of the Muslim League itself. They are all Bengali speaking Muslims. Nobody supported Dhirendranath Datta. So, when we talk about any big movement, if you talk about the Israel, Theodor Herzl, they celebrate. Why? Because nobody talked about the state of Israel back then. He has sort of, came forward and did it. If you think about our national movement, why are you sort of celebrate? Even Nehruji, he came here to talk to Sri Aurobindo. That was not easy, right, for Nehruji to come. Because it is Sri Aurobindo who sort of saw it as a national thing and sort of started. Of course, there's also other incidents in Maharashtra and all. I'm not belittling anyone. But that is why we sort of celebrate Sri Aurobindo. Now, that way, if Bangladesh has to celebrate anyone for Bengali as their state language, it has to be Dhirendranath Datta, nobody else.
So what you should do, the venom with which the Pakistani army avenged his temerity should be read to be. I don't think you'll be able to digest it, but read it to understand the anger they felt about his campaign for the mother tongue. Now, what's interesting is that all of us know that Mujib, we are made to understand that Mujib fought on the Bengali plank. Whereas actually there are two very important points that debunk this completely. One is that the Bengali issue was actually resolved in 1956. And it was already an official language in Pakistan, that is East and West Pakistan. And the other one, can you please talk about what was Mujib's 6-point movement? Like he had a manifesto which had 6 points of demands. So let us explore how much of it was about Bengaliness.
I'll start with 1956 one. So there is a myth that Bangladesh was created based on Bengali as language. This is absolute bunkum. If you look at this 1950, there's a tussle between Bengali as recognized language in Pakistan but it was resolved in 1956 Pakistani constitution. And it was Bengali was given the same stature as Urdu. Now, is it only in the constitution? Absolutely not. There are two big monuments Pakistan built as their national narrative, both in West Pakistan. One is Lahore, the place where Lahore resolution was done. It is called Minare Pakistan. Minare Pakistan, and the inscriptions and everything was made. I was given photos in my book, equally in Urdu and Bengali. The other one is Mazar-e-Qaed. Mazar-e-Qaed was about it's called Jinnah Mausoleum. Basically, Jinnah's tomb and other celebrated leaders' tomb are there. There also inscriptions are there equally in both Bengali and Urdu. In their
Pakistan.
Pakistan, the West Pakistan, I'm talking about, not East Pakistan. If you go to Karachi, their best university, there's a Bengali department which still exists there. And if you look at their coins and their stamps, Bengali was there. I'm not a fan of Pakistan by any stretch of imagination, but the credit has to be given where it is due. The idea is Pakistan did no injustice to Bengali after 1956.
And so then, like I told, can you touch upon the six point of Mujib's movement?
So Mujib became very famous because he was associated with a conspiracy case called Agartala conspiracy case, and he was jailed. Eventually it became politically very difficult for Pakistanis to do anything. And then he floated this 6 points for program, which led to this Bangladesh being actualized. This started in 1966. Now you see, you have to understand Pakistan. Pakistan is not run, Pakistan is not run by people. It is run by military. And military, the Punjabi Cabal, they are the powerful one. Now if you look at Bangladesh, these people, like if you look at Muslim League, it started in Bangladesh. It did not start in Aligarh, it did not start in Punjab. It started in Bangladesh. The last fight push for Pakistan started with the direct action day. This Bengal Files was released, it is showing you. That was the last push for Pakistan, 16 August 1946. The only out of 15 provinces of India, the only province used to be governed by Muslim League that time was Bengal, undivided Bengal. So we sort of try to assume that Bengali speaking Muslims were not Islamists and all. That is the farthest from truth. I mean, it is the Muslim Leagues, the most amount of clout was there in Bengal itself. Now these people, Mujib and basically his guru, Suraburdi, they did not enjoy much of power in Pakistan and they were very upset. And there is an army rule in Pakistan for more than a decade, from 1958 or so. And in that rule, what happened? There is a discrimination between the West Pakistan and East Pakistan is growing. I have shown you with facts and figures. The methodologies I have used in my book is absolutely whatever the statistics is available, I have presented them. And whatever the people are saying, I tried to find from the sources. For example, if there is an allegation of hostility towards Bengali language, I read the books of the people who are saying so, and I looked into their claims in the lights of facts and figures. So that is what it is. Now 6 points program is all about this discrimination. It talks about more reservation for East Pakistani, or that's kind of called East Pakistan, East Pakistani people. It is more about price difference between West Pakistan and East Pakistan. It is about a separate reserve bank for two currencies for two Pakistans. There is not a single clause on culture and language. Not a single clause. Right? So the idea that it is about Bengali language is absolutely not true. And this is a myth. This myth was planted actually in the 1972. It was more planted in the later 1970s and of course 1980s, and generous support from the, what that time we used to call them communists, now we call them left liberals or liberals, from them. They actually tried to have, they have an agenda. They wanted to show that secularity could happen in any religious state. That is of course not true. We all know that secularism has come from certain Christian traditions. This has been shown by Jacob de Roover, S.N. Bal Gangadhar. There is a book, Oxford University Press 2015, Europe, India and the Limits of Secularism by Jacob de Roover. I have explained it in my earlier book, Majoritarian Myth also. Now, in India, we have the idea of secularity, I would say not because of Supreme Court, but more so because of our culture. What we mean by secularity, the toleration and other principles, they are already there in India. When Swami Vivekananda went to the Chicago in 1893, he talked about them. And he never talked about secularity. He said these are Hindu principles, the idea of toleration. So basically it is Hindu culture that is there. Now in Muslim culture, for certain reasons, the idea of secularity is less. I think that is empirically a true phenomenon. Sort of they tried in Turkey, but it is being reversed and all. That is, it should be accepted by left as an empirical fact. But because they wanted to negate all cultures of equally bad and all, they have to present that, you know, Muslim countries are equally secular and so, and they wanted to bring out Bangladesh as a case study. I'll tell you one example, last point. Just a few months ago,
It's your session, do what you want.
no, because your time constraints and all. The idea is, you see, a few months ago, one professor from a very celebrated Indian Institute of Learning, I'm not naming it here. It is, everybody know it here. Everybody may not know my institute, IIM Kozhikode, that well as this institute. That professor, a Bengali professor, said, Bangladesh is a secular country. I pointed out humbly in this social media that, you know, there is a clause in their constitution that says Islam is the national religion. Well, of course, no answer. I understand the compulsions. I'm not blaming the person. To do well in academics, you have to give lip service to certain things, to not become a pariah. So that, okay, that's understandable. But this is the amount of ignorance we have among Bangladesh.
So, as you rightly said, the whole Bengali narrative was 1972. But I want to know if Mujib, after getting Bangladesh as an independent country, said this: those of you who can speak Bengali should integrate in this country. Brothers, do not touch them. They are our brothers too. We would like to show the world that the Bengalis are not only able to make sacrifices for the independent, but they can also live in peace. So this is in 10th January 1972. And yet he was not only assassinated, his entire family was annihilated. So can you just explain, if he gave Bangladesh to the Bangladeshis, why was he killed and so venomously killed?
So the idea, firstly the idea of Bengali, the Mujib is saying, it effectively means Muslim Bengali. Because in that same speech, Mujib says, perform munazat, an Islamic ritual for me. Can a secular state leader say that perform an Islamic ritual for me, where that country's 13% people were non-Muslims? It is an absurdity. So essentially, even today, if you go to Bangladesh, Hindus are called Indians. I have referred it to in my book. So in fact, even not today, 2003, one American researcher, Yvette Rosser, visited Bangladesh. She wrote her thesis, and she got awarded from University of Texas at Austin, doctorate. She met there people, and there someone introduced to an Hindu neighbor to her, and he said that these are our Indian friends. So she initially thought these are Indian tourists came there or something, and asked, well, are you from India? No, not really. We live here. Oh, your fathers are, someone relatives in India? No, all our relatives are here. Still, that person is being referred Indian because being Hindu. So in Bangladesh, Bengalis means Bengali Muslims. And I have one of my sections dedicated to that. One of the very underestimated person in India is Syed Ahmed Khan. Syed Ahmed Khan started the two nation theory, and he had a speech at Meerut where he categorically said half of the people of Bengal are Bengalis, half of the people are Muslims. So the Muslims who speak Bengalis were not Bengalis back then. They were only Muslims. Now they started from Muslims, they become Muslim Bengalis, then Bengali Muslims, and then started becoming then Bengalis. Then the sort of these Bengalis sort of an identity that is hijacked, right? Like Kashmiriyat. Now Kashmiriyat does not refer to the Kashmiri Pandits. It only means the Kashmiri Muslims. So this is the idea of the imperialism, how it works. They grab an identity, and because of that identity, things are lost. I am pretty sure it is happening in Tamil Nadu or Karnataka and Kerala, but it is in so small proportions. You do not know it that well. You do not recognize it, but our general populace cannot recognize it. So it's a case study. Case study is in Bangladesh, where basically the Bengali identity was completely hijacked. And Hindus become Indians. Yeah, now
No. Sorry, don't, let me not interrupt you. Go ahead, finish your sentence. Okay, so the point here, though you make, is pretty nuanced, and you have to explain. And I really like the example you took, and that is, okay, the Bangladeshi tried to appropriate the Bengali language, and yet there is a very strong movement to Arabize it. You know, so on the one hand, they want to claim an identity. On the other hand, they want to alienate themselves from the purity of Bengal. And he gives a very good example. And every Bengali here, and I hope will understand that for a Bengali, the word khun for murder is an accepted word. We use khun for murder very normally. Whereas if you suddenly start using khun for rokto, that is blood, that is definitely a borrowing from an Arabic or Persian term. We are not used to it. So explain to us how they wanted to make it the Bengali and the Hindu, and then because of pan-Islamism, they desperately want to Arabize themselves.
Exactly. So, Ajay, you are talking about methodology. I think this is very important. Every book, every word in my book is referenced. Every reference comes from Bangladeshi source or Western source. I have not used any single Indian source, because then I will be sort of being prejudiced. So I use their sources only. Now there is a very famous intellectual, Bangladeshi intellectual, Ahmed Safa. Ahmed Safa wrote an article, The Mind of Bengali Muslim. And that person is talking about why Arabic is being sort of Arabization is happening. So if you go to the pre-modern times, like 200 years ago, the general belief among the Muslims is that they will go to Jannat, the heaven. Their Arabic will be spoken. Because Arabic will be spoken, if you do not know Arabic, you will be alone. There will be nobody to socialize. So you need to this is not my words, by the way. This is my Ahmed Shafa's words only. Therefore, you need to know Arabic. And therefore, not only in India, all over the world, there is a trend to Arabize their language whenever Muslim religion went there. This trend is not there among, for example, among the Christians. For Christians, Latin is not that. It's of course it was a language of curriculum in Europe for many years, but they don't try to do that, because for them Bible is sort of has to be read as a meaning and all. But that is not the case with Islamic religion, right? And that is why if you go to Arabic, it is not called a language. It is often called a macro language. Why? Because two Arabic persons from two different countries, let's say, Egypt and let's say, Iraq, may not be very comfortable in talking in Arabic, because there is an underlying script which is same. There is an underlying, some grammar is same. But otherwise, many words are coming from the local language. I have quoted an article from the Economist to show my point. Now, same thing was happening here also. You need to sort of Arabize it. Now, there is a crisis. The crisis is that after the fall of Mughal Empire, Muslims are losing their political clout. So there is a group of Ashrafs, let's say 5%, less than 5%. They are looking at
Who is the Ashraf? Can you just define it?
They are the upper class Muslims. And
Foreign origin?
Huh?
Foreign origin.
They are definitely coming from foreign. So there are four of them, four groups among them. One is called Sayyid, one is called Mughal, Pathan, and
Quraysh.
Quraysh is part of Sayyid.
Okay.
Sayyid and then Sheikh. Sayyids are like descendants of the Prophet. Sheikhs are descendants of some companion of the Prophet. So Sayyid, Sheikh, Mughal, Pathan. These are the four sort of groups. Apart from that, 95% of the Indian Muslims, they are called Atrabs. Atrabs are peasantry and other classes. Now in the 19th century Bengal, it was a very harmonious Bengal. Why? Because the Atrabs, they are defanged after the loss of the Mughal Empire. And I am quoting a very prominent Muslim figure who is a leader of Muslim League, Abul Mansur Ahmed. He said, that times Muslims never thought India as their nation. They used to locate themselves in the Middle Eastern countries as their place. This is Abul Mansur Ahmed is saying, who was a cabinet minister of Pakistan. I am quoting from his own autobiography. Now, if you look at now, the Atrab class, the peasantry, they used to speak in Bengali. They used to have the same attire. The ladies, they used to wear the saris, and the males, they used to wear the dhotis, like we are doing here. And that is what the attire for both Hindus and Muslims. The Muslims, they used to go to the Hindu places a lot. In fact, I have quoted, there is a book by Rafiquddin Ahmed, Oxford University Press. There they shows that Muslims and Hindus, they used to go each other's place. And Muslims usually never had this beard. They almost never celebrated Eid. Eid was a lion. More prominent Muslim places used to be called Kadam Rasul Mosque. In Chattogram, there is a Kadam Rasul Mosque. There is a Malda, there is a Kadam Rasul Mosque. What is Kadam Rasul? Kadam Rasul means the foot of the Prophet. It is the Hindu tradition. We celebrate the Vishnu Pada Padma. So they actually put the Rasul's Pada Padma, the imprint of the foot, and they used to celebrate it. These things started changing by two movements. One is called Faraizi, and this Faraizi movement, and then another one is called Barelvi. And then basically there is a person called Mir Nishar Ali, popularly called Titu Mir, who came in Bengal. Right? Now here is this problem of the left. They say all the things I am saying, but then say Titu Mir was a true harmonious person. Absolutely the opposite. Titu Mir tried to change it. He tried to radicalize the Muslims. He said that grow beard, don't take food with the Hindu places, don't celebrate Hindu things. You try to become a pure Islam. So there is the idea was Sabeki Islam was being comfortable with the Hindu neighbors. And he started becoming Faraizi. You have a furz to some theoretical Islam. So you have to change yourself. So the radicalization started by Titu Mir. And Titu Mir is celebrated as a freedom fighter in leftist textbooks. And the same legacy now continues under the cultural Marxist government of Mamata Banerjee. Yeah, please.
So just to let you know that this book, I was trying to show you the proportion. This bit is the referencing. So it's very, very extensive. And there are portions where he has translated from the Bangla to the English so that we understand it better. Now, I want to actually move to Joy Bangla. Now,
I have not answered Mujib. You want me to go through that?
Oh, Mujib, why was
Mujib's
it?
assassination and all.
But you do it very quickly now. I've got a very important point to do.
Okay. So the idea is Mujib never started a new narrative. Mujib kept the same Muslim League narrative in place, contrary to what we believe. We believe that Bangladeshis love India, absolutely bunkum. Nobody loves India. India is hated the most. Even before 2024, even before 2000, even before 1990, as much before as you can go. Right? You remember, this is the place where 1964 there is a big genocide of Hindus. There is a big forum because the Indian-Pakistan war was there. Tension was building up. Big genocide happened in Bangladesh, not in West Pakistan. I mean, East Pakistan that time. Now there is a forum which is called International Commission for Jurists. Forget 1971. They call 1964 a genocide of the Hindus. And similar atrocity happened in 1965. This is like 6 years ago, right? Because Pakistan, Bangladesh was created. This is their culture. And then periodic genocides. And we know the genocides before, right? All on. Now, Mujib never changed this narrative. In fact, he bolstered the Islamic narrative. He banned alcohol. He banned racing, horse racing. He sort of built Islamic foundation. We all think Pakistan is more Islamic than Bangladesh. It's actually other way around. The first Islamic bank came in Bangladesh, not in Pakistan. First Islamic university came in Bangladesh, not in Pakistan. Friday as a weekly holiday used to be there in Pakistan, but they discontinued. They thought it's not profitable, good enough. Bangladesh continued it in spite of knowing the losses for so many years, decades. So the idea is this Islamic narrative is continuing. Now we have a little problem. We think the Islamist is the person who dons the cap, who dons the beard, who goes to madrasa. No. These are what Iron Hershey Ali calls Makki Muslims. Makki Muslims many times are not so political. They follow Islam very devotedly and all, but they don't have political Islam that much. Much more political Islam are people who are pant shirts and all. But they are sort of much more Islamists than us. And if you look at that, you can't be a good Muslim, good Islamist, if you are with India. If you are a friend of India, you are not a good Muslim, you are with a Kafir nation. Right? Mujib was never perceived as a enemy of India. Can't. The entire thing happened because, anti-Pakistan and pro-India. That time, now they lost the history, now it is not taught, but that time it was known. Now, there, Mujib has to be an anti-Islam. In these circumstances, there is a narrative building. Of course, there are other, internationalism, CIA and all. But if you look at Sheikh Hasina, Mujib's daughter, she is a very devout lady, unlike Begum Khalida, the wife of Ziaur Rahman. But people perceive Sheikh Hasina as a bad person. Why? There is a slogans in Bangladesh. Mudir Bou Hasina Tumai Amra China. Hasina, you are the wife of Modi, Narendra Modi. We don't like you. Why? Because of no other reason, but this person is sort of thought closer to India. Now, under these circumstances, Mujib sort of become a sort of a person who cannot further the Islamic cause that much. You need a much more purer Islam. And after Mujib's death, it was announced in Bangladesh radio, and the first word they say is Joy Bangladesh. So Joy Bangla is found to be a sort of a moderate Islam. We need Joy Bangladesh that will sever your ties with Bangla. Bangla is a kufri Jaban. It used to be called kufri Jaban by the Islamist, the language of the kafirs. You can't have really any association for a devout person. So that is sort of the idea. Yeah, please.
So,
I think I am trying to be as brief as
no,
possible.
actually, like I said, I don't want to debunk everything that you've done because it's magnificently done in the book. But there are just two more. How much time do I have? Before the 15-minute thing? Or a 10-minute? Okay. So I'll just quickly, maybe just this one. When growing up, no, I don't want. I'm subservient to her in the venue.
Caesar's wife, no problem.
So, no, the thing is that, when we grew up and even now, we perceive Bangladesh to be quite a poor country and, its greatest ambition should have been to basically develop. But this Joy Bangla slogan, which is so blatantly imperialistic, I find this like way beyond their pay grade. Like from where in the hell are they imagining to incorporate bits of Assam and Tripura and West Bengal and like explain Joy Bangla, explain Maulana Bhasani and explain the Imperial Bengal.
Right. I'll explain what she's trying to be imperialistic. Bangladesh's one of the founders of Awami League was Maulana Bhasani. Those who are from Assam, they know Maulana Bhasani. All the Assam's politics is started with Maulana Bhasani. Bhasani actually did all the Muslim immigration in Assam, and which actually led to the current problem Himanta Biswa Sarma was sort of talking about. Now, Maulana Bhasani was a very revered figure in Bangladesh and also in Bengal, unfortunately. CPIM, the party who is governed as 34 years, they celebrate Maulana Bhasani. Now, that is not long back, just like 1 year ago, in their mouthpiece it was there, there's a news. Now, this Maulana Bhasani, he has a word right after Bangladesh was created in 1972. He said, Bangladesh, like Jinnah said, right? This Pakistan is truncated and moth-eaten. Bhasani says this Bangladesh is incomplete. Its borders are incomplete, its ideas are incomplete. We need to have West Bengal, Tripura and Assam within us to make it complete. This is right in 1972. And this Bhasani is like the most revered person in Bangladesh. There is many Bangladeshis, they don't like this Tagore song, Ammar Sonar Bangla as their national anthem. Even a few months ago, there is a big movement. There is a person, Prince Mahmud, who gave an alternative Bangladeshi national anthem. And that says, I love the Bangladesh, that is the idea of Bhasani. That is how revered he is.
After I read that line, I actually heard the song. All of us who have seen Zee Bangla know this Nobel from Bangladesh who came and sang. And he has that, and he sings it very fervently that I am that Bangladesh of Shurabardi, Bhasani, and there was a third person. And I was like, oh my God, he sang this in India, in Zee Bangla.
Third one is Fazlul Haq.
Fazlul Haq. Fazlul Haq, at least little bit moderate, but
he brought the Pakistan proposal, but he was a more moderate one, yes. Yeah, so this is now, of course, and this is sort of a theme. So it is not celebrated, they will not say it in polite conversations, but it is there. The maps are out in 2024. One of the ministers called advisors sort of sent a map in social media that shows basically part of, entire West Bengal, large part of Jharkhand, Bihar, Orissa and Northeast, all part of Greater Bangladesh.
We should ask the military men in the audience later what they think of.
Yeah, so I'll come to the pay grade issue. I'll come to the pay grade issue in a bit. Huh? So but idea, I was just trying to give this idea. This how popular this imperialistic thing is there in Bangladesh. If you go to very different, there is a map of Bangladesh that was circulated before 1972, in 71.
When you look at me, you have to put on.
Right, sorry. Yeah. So, there's a map that is circulated, and in that map, there's a border of Bangladesh demarcated. And it said, inside sources said, it was not liked by people. So, 1972, the moment Bangladesh was formed, they started a new flag where everything is same. But this map was sort of taken away. But you understand the Bhasani statement and all, right? Not everything could be said openly by a person like Mujib. But Mujib said to one Indian Bengali intellectual, another Shankar Ray, he asked Mujib, where have you found the idea of Joy Bangla? Mujib said there is a proposal of united Bengal in 1947 before the India and Pakistan was formed. It was by Sohrawardi and some sort of useful idiot, I would say. So, he was actually brother of Subhas Bose, Sarad Bose. They said that we will have a united Bengal. It is not India, but not India, not Pakistan, but united Bengal. That could any day go to Pakistan, but still we would like it. But that was not well received, particularly after the violence of Direct Action Day and all. So that's why that was sort of debunked. But Mujib is saying, I got my idea of Joy Bangla from that proposal. So it clearly shows, even Mujib is saying, the idea is to create a greater part, right? Not only this Bangladesh. Now, if you look at the pay grade thing, this is what I have explained in my book, Majoritarian Make. There is a theoretical idea where you keep certain things as right. Now, if you come to the Francis Xavier, If you look at the Francis Xavier's account, that time Europe is much poorer compared to India, Angus Madison and all we have heard, right? Now, but he is finding India to be a miserable country. Why? The reason is very simple, because of his belief. Similarly, these Bangladeshis, they are sort of, most Bangladeshis, they sort of believe that their army can any day capture Delhi. So there is a Peed who is sort of the brainchild behind this 2024 incident. He actually said that yes, we want to take Bangladesh to Afghanistan. That is what sort of the glory of that. Now I'll tell you the real problem with that. The problem is that this theoretical thinking gets bolstered the moment you get a lot of material prosperity. So Islamism is not more dominant in Egypt and Islamic countries. It is much more dominant in Great Britain among the immigrant Muslims there. Why? Because you get prosperity, you want to achieve something else, and that achievement you are looking from some theoretical idea, not exactly practical or empirical one, right? Similarly, Hasina gave wonderful economic growth for last 15 years. And then people thought, I would say, even at the cost of displeasing some, that what Modi did in last 11 years or so, Hasina did no less in last 15 16 years, from 2009 to 2024. Once you get that material prosperity, you want to get even better, but in the non-material world. And that non-material world is to get what you can't have, right? That is the greater Bangladesh.
So I don't know if there are any questions, but just one small point that you just need to know that neither was Surabardi nor Mujib 100% Bengali. They were all of Baghdadi Muslim origin. So they were foreigners, they were Ashrafs, they were not really Bengali Muslims. So with that point, I just, there is the biggest...
Surabardi could not even speak Bengali.
Exactly. But I did not know that Mujib was not a Bengali. I did not know he had Iraqi Baghdadi origin. The last one, of course, is of caste. But what is very interesting is that he has quoted Irfan Habib and Romila Thapar here to prove to you that low caste and conversion to Islam was not truth in Bengal. So to me, that was the cherry on the cake in terms of debunk. Yeah.
So I have taken even Marxist.
Don't answer this.
Yes, Anand, yes. But I think I will always have time for him. So that I'll take cutting of time. So what I'm trying to say that in my book, I have never gone for any sort of a theory that is not well accepted. So I have only quoted Marxist historians like Romila Thapar and Irfan Habib.
Professor, remarkable discussion, thank you, and remarkable book. But one, if I can say, gentle castigation, when you talk of moderate and when you talk of radicalizing, you talked about one Maulana who radicalized. So if I, memorize the book Biochemistry by Leninger, chapter and verse, do I become a radical scientist? There is no such thing as radical Islam, in fact, all those people that you're talking about creating mayhem, they have possibly imbibed only 1/100th of what their religious scripture tells them to. So this apprehension that non-Muslims have again and again and again, and especially our dispensation in India, that someone has been radicalized, someone's been radicalized. This notion has to go away. You yourself have proved, everyone, starting from Mujibur, when he is talking of greater Bangla, when he's talking of all those ideas that he's kept hidden, in his mind, it's not radical, it is the done thing.
Again, I'll just take
I will not I'll answer that question.
Okay, please.
So the thing is that actually what he tried to say in the 1800s is that there was a syncretic sort of practice where he talked about the foot, and when the Bengal Renaissance happened, that is when they went back to the purity, which you are right.
Also, I would like to say that there's a theoretical idea and there's an empirical idea. The theoretical Islam, whatever it is, nobody knows. I mean, it is never actualized in the country, right? Maybe in Prophet's days also not there so much, I don't know. But the empirical idea is, it upon depend on person to person. Now, a lot of Islam is sort of, empirical Islam and all. But yeah, some are not, of course.